We got Big Ben Rothwell, my man. Haven't seen this man in just a little bit. He's been pretty active over the last year or whatnot. But he's fighting a very interesting opponent in Marcos Rogerio de Lima, or Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Nonetheless, Rothwell opens up as a minus 150 favorite for this heavyweight contest with a plus 125 comeback for de Lima. AJ, this is basically going to be a matchup of who's going to win, the striker or the grappler? Now, don't get me wrong. De Lima is not just a grappler. He has great Muay Thai. He has winging hooks that will smash your face in. But Ben Rothwell is the more technical striker, faster hands, in my opinion. Deathly hard punches, my man. Like, he'll punch a hole into your face. I mean, that's a very big man. But both of these dudes have to cut down to get down to 265. So you know this is going to be a real heavyweight matchup. Now, my question for you on this one, AJ, is we saw what Marcin Tybura, a very small heavyweight, was able to do to Ben Rothwell over the course of 3 rounds. Yes, round 1 and 2, did they kind of lean towards Rothwell? Of course. Round 3, took him down. There was nothing he can do. Real quick, off the bat, AJ, have you watched that fight recently?
Yeah, I watched that one. I like seeing how the fighters lose their fights. What's the
Exactly.
whole? So
Let me
yeah.
ask you this real quick. Do you agree that Rothwell lost that fight? Like, there is kind of, in a way, I could have saw it 2-1 for Rothwell. He was getting the better on the feet for rounds 1 and 2, but somehow he lost a unanimous decision straight up. What did you think about that?
I had Ben Rothwell winning as well, and
Hmm.
I took that as me being the biased striker that I
Yeah.
am. I need anytime they're on the feet trade, and I think that guy's winning. But at the point to Marcin Tybura's credit, if that fight would have kept going 4 and 5 rounds
Oh,
or
yeah.
even longer, he was getting better. He was doing a lot better. So I can see why they gave it to him. Although I had Ben Rothwell winning that one as well.
Tybura, ultimately, he did the most damage in that round 3. It was an ugly round for him. He bloodied Rothwell all up and all that good stuff. But Rothwell, man, the striking is legit. And I guess that's the point, is it's not as definitive as a loss as on paper it might seem. But this is kind of, that's the template that I use, and I look at that fight to kind of predict how this fight might go. Because if you're De Lima, that's your goal. Get Rothwell to the ground and pound him for 3 rounds. Do it, rinse, wash, repeat. That's exactly what he did to Maurice Green in his last fight. A big striker, just completely negated that striking by just taking him to the ground. There was nothing he can do. And the thing about De Lima is he's so huge, man. You know what I mean? There's very few people he can't ragdoll, and one of them is Alexander Romanov, where that man just got. I've rarely been able to pull it off, man, in jiu-jitsu, but that's a very effective technique, man, where you just get on top of them, you put your forearm in their throat, and you put all your weight on them. It's just uncomfortable. It's not even a real deal submission. It's just, fuck, I can't breathe. You know what I mean? So for that to happen to De Lima, he got submitted that way. He got submitted against Stefan Struve, right? Round 2, Those are the only 2 submission losses of his career, and they all came in his last 5. So I don't think that that's something that we have to worry about too much. And if you're Ben Rothwell, you know what I mean? You got 7 submissions under your belt. Don't count that man out. But when it comes down to it, AJ, it's a simple question that I think answers this fight. Will De Lima be able to get this fight to the ground?
That's exactly the question I have as well for you, Derek. Will he be able to get it to the ground? I think so. And if he does, I think it's going to be a little bit later because Ben
Yeah,
Rothwell, dude, he is that classic old school style of heavyweight we'd love to see. And the
absolutely.
only problem with that is he stays a little bit heavy on the feet. So if Rogerio de Lima is able to get that takedown, shoot that takedown, blast double leg, he can get it. He can get up in under the guard and actually go in for that big takedown. It's just the one thing about Ben Rothwell. Yeah, he's a vet. He's been training. He's probably working on the ground game, but he is fast for how big this
Oh,
man
yeah.
is. Those feet are fast. Those hands are fast. He's able to move very quickly, and it'll be interesting to see if he's able to get that elusiveness into work going forward. Do you see this one going to the ground?
I think that's the only chance for De Lima to win the fight, man. I really think that. I think on the feet, he's going to get picked apart because all of his hooks winging. Oh, man. Big from the sides, you know what I mean? All of them. Rothwell, what looks like arm punches really aren't, man. He has this weird way of swaying his body to where he just like moves to the side and just da-da, da-da, everything. It looks, but it hurts, man. These shots hurt. So when it comes down to it, my man, if De Lima can't get the fight to the ground, I think this is an easy win for Rothwell. But if he can get the fight to the ground, it's going to be a tough fight for Rothwell to win, man. Like I said, if Tybura can do this to you, what do you think De Lima is going to do to you? Only has 2 submissions in his career, but he's more of the top control ground and pound as opposed to let me get on top and then try to submit you somehow, some way. 66% takedown accuracy for De Lima is there over about one takedown per fight. You know what I mean? But the point is he's accurate when he tries to take you down. It's not like a Felicia Spencer who has a 10% takedown accuracy. It's a bunch of shots and you can't get anything done, right? It's going to be interesting to me on this one, AJ, because Ben Rothwell, would you agree with me on this one? And we'll give our picks after this. Would you agree with me that Ben Rothwell overextends on his striking a little bit? He kind of will punch forward, and De Lima, all it takes is you throw 1-2 over the top, De Lima comes right underneath, double leg, get you on the ground. He literally did that to Maurice Green. Rinse, wash, repeat. That's kind of the name of the game for De Lima. What do you think about that?
I do. I agree. He extends his punches on his power punches. Those little, they're not necessarily arm punches like you're saying. He has that hip shift, that weight going forward. But what he'll do is he'll throw that combo, and then that last one, that big power shot, really overextends, and that's when Marcos Rogerio de Lima, as long as he doesn't get caught by it, can duck under and save, or duck under and get that takedown. I think Rogerio de Lima works best on his front foot, so it's going to be interesting to see how he handles the pressure of Ben Rothwell going forward. Man, who do you see leading this dance?
Ben Rothwell, absolutely, my man. I think that Rothwell is going to basically say, like, you're going to be lunch to me, you know what I mean, on the feet. Unless he can gain some respect by landing a big bomb or something like that, my man, I think Rothwell is going to try to push forward, but that's the problem with pushing forward, is that if someone's trying to take you down, you're making it kind of easier for them, you know what I mean? It's harder to take someone down when they're moving backwards as opposed to when they're moving forward, you feel me? Unless Ben Rothwell has the great hips. It's going to be interesting, my man. 70% takedown defense for Rothwell. So don't get me wrong. It's not like it's just an easy dude to take down. He's a monster of a man. 6'4", has to cut down to 265. Come on, nobody wants to mess with that. But when it comes down to it, my man, both of these fighters are 3-2 in their last 5. Who do you got and why?
Yeah, man, this one's going to be very interesting because I'm actually a big fan of Rogerio de Lima as well as Ben Rothwell. I give the power, both of them have power, but I give the advantage on the ground to De Lima and the speed to Rothwell, making it a very interesting matchup to see how it actually all unfolds. But me personally, Derek, I'm going Ben Rothwell by decision. I think the vet's going to get it done. Both these dudes are veterans, but I think Ben Rothwell is going to be able to get it done in those late rounds and not get controlled like we saw the Crochet boss get controlled in his last fight against Rogerio de Lima, where that's what he does best, man. He keeps you down. He holds you down. Rogerio de Lima will keep with that top pressure, but I don't see Ben Rothwell submitting to that or just allowing that to happen. I think it's going decision. Ben Rothwell. Who's your pick and why?
Well, I will say easier said than done, my man. You know what I mean? When you in there against these two huge monsters, easier said than done. I'm going with the underdog here. I'm going De Lima just because over the course of 3 rounds, kind of always like to take the grappler as opposed to the striker. It's easier for the grappler to have success if he gets you to the ground, and we know how much the judges weigh in these takedowns, my man. I mean, Rose Namajunas, she just won her fight with a takedown over Wei Li. Didn't do much with the takedown, but she got the takedown. And if that's what counts and that's what wins fights, then I think De Lima has a good chance of winning this fight. I will say one of the best ways De Lima gets his takedowns are via double underhooks or body locks. You know what I mean? He's very, very strong. I'm just telling you, to be able to body lock somebody, ragdoll him to the ground, you have to be a strong man to do that. And De Lima has a lot of power in there. So over under on this one, AJ, 1.5 rounds, -170 for the over and plus 140 for the under. So it looks like we're both going on the over here, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said,